this is my review of Sonic X. Okay, so it's Season 2, and Season 2 is going to be interesting because if you guys have never watched Sonic X before and don't know what I'm about to tell you guys, second season of Sonic X is a reimagining of the Sonic Adventure games, Sonic Adventure and its sequel Sonic Adventure 2, which came out before this, and the game, and whoever decided to make them, Sonic X, decided, you know what, we should actually adapt that for the second season of this. So yeah, after this, during the second season is entirely based around the premise of Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2, with a couple other unique things mixed in, as far as I know. I don't really remember because I didn't really watch this much as a kid, but basically all you need to know is that if you've played Sonic Adventure or Sonic Adventure 2, you'll have a general idea of where this season is going to go. Maybe I'll play Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2 at some point on the channel, but I have no idea. But in case, yeah, the episode actually opens up with everybody's favorite character, the character that is beloved by millions the world over, Big the Cat. Okay, yeah, in actuality, he's got pretty much universally hated, and I couldn't tell you why, but, yeah, Big the Cat, after being foreshadowed, after his appearance was foreshadowed at the very beginning of episode 1 of season 1, he's finally making an appearance. I don't know where he's been this whole time, but he's finally showing up during the event of the story. So, yeah, he finally shows up and sees something fall from the sky as he's just lying around, looking all dopey-eyed up at the sky while he's trying to sleep. But he notices something falls out of the sky, and he and his buddy Froggy go to check it out. As it turns out, what they found was a Chaos Emerald, specifically the purple one. And Big naturally picks it up, thinking because it's shiny, and he thinks it's pretty and likes it. But he isn't entirely sure what he's supposed to do with it. But as he and Froggy contemplate what to do with their newfound Chaos Emerald, Froggy accidentally ingests a mysterious liquid that just shows up and enters his body, and because of that, Froggy grows a tail, loses control of his senses, I think, and steals the Chaos Emerald from Big, and Big just chases after him. Remember that, it becomes important later. And also after this, after setting up the initial premise of this, we actually find out a bit more about how much the world has changed since we last saw it in between the first season and second season, which isn't very long for me because I'm reviewing this literally the week after. But if you watched it live, then it was probably a lot longer than that. I don't remember how much time went between season 1 and season 2. I'll have to look that up and put it somewhere in the video. But basically, a lot of things have changed in the past however long. So some of Sonic's locations, as I said last episode, in the last review of this, have actually been transported to Station Square, namely the Mystic Ruins and Angel Island. More on that first one and more on that second one in a bit. But namely, some of the locations have shown up, and also, weirdly enough, Dr. Eggman hasn't been seen in a while. And sure enough, the president calls all of his gun agents in to actually hold a meeting, and everybody's trying to everybody's like giving the obvious answers of, we need more surveillance drones, we need more agents, that kind of stuff. It's actually Rouge who gives the smarter answer of everybody in the room, pointing out that because she knows full well what Dr. Eggman does when he's waiting, point out that he's most likely just lying in wait, waiting for his next evil scheme. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened. So, Dr. Eggman has been busy. He built himself a new base, which I will name in a minute, but he built himself a new base and has built himself a new army of robots. And these robots are the first in their line of the robots that actually use animals as power supplies, which is a little messed up, but then again, it's Dr. Eggman we're talking about, so I'm okay with it. But in case, Dr. Eggman has been busy. He's had Deco and Boko build and test some new robots, and now he has 4 similar robots, namely E101 Beta, E102 Gamma, E103 Delta, and E105 Epsilon, and E104 Epsilon. So he's been busy. He has 4 new robots now, and gives them a bit of a field test to see how they work. And sure enough, they work pretty well. He has some holograms of Sonic. They immediately shoot them dead, and he deems the test as a success. So yeah, he's pretty happy with how the test turns out, but also he points out that he has another ace up his sleeve and is planning to do something else with it. So, and sure enough, it's revealed that he actually has a Chaos Emerald, which is never a good thing. So, and he actually has a plan for what he's going to do. And sure enough, takes off in his new egg carrier, which is again from Sonic Adventure, and proceeds to go to Station Square, where he's planning to put his plan into motion. Meanwhile, Chris is in the middle of having breakfast with cream and cheese and his grandfather, and sure enough, it's revealed that Tails actually has set up a lab in Station Square, namely in the Mystic Ruins, which have appeared from Sonic's world, and has set up his old workstation there. And Chris is asked by his grandfather if he wants to go see it, but Chris refuses, mainly because he already has plans to go see his mother, which Chuck immediately understands, pointing out that they need to spend more time together, but also is just happy that he's just spending time with his mother. So, and also Chris does exactly that. He even takes cream and cheese with him, and they go to meet Lindsay, who turns out has the yellow Chaos Emerald. She found it at a jewelry store, and she just kind of kept it, but decided that it didn't really match any of her outfits, and she gave it to Cream as a present. So now Cream has a Chaos. Now Cream and Chris have a Chaos Emerald. That's not going to get confusing to say. But in any case, after that, Lindsay reveals that that's all the time she has and leaves because she's going to shoot a movie, and apparently they have to recast the dog. So I'm not entirely sure the details of that movie, but I'm interested now. And she gives her son a goodbye hug and kiss and leaves. At which point Chris, Cream and Cheese actually contemplate what they're supposed to do with the newfound Chaos Emerald as well. But they don't get much time, because around this time, Froggy runs into Cheese, knocks him over, and then Big shows up moments later and trips and falls on top of them. And sure enough, Froggy gets away in the commotion, but eventually the group manages to sort itself out and get all the information they can from Big, although it admittedly takes a while because he's very slow. But they eventually figure out who he is. He's Big the Cat. He's looking for his buddy Froggy, and they try to get the detail, and that's basically all they can get out of him. And also, since it was kind of sort of their fault that Froggy kind of got away, they decide to help him look for Froggy. At which point they spend a good part of the day looking for Froggy to no avail. It's at this point where a mysterious creature emerges, and I'm not going to beat up around the bush. It's Chaos. But Chaos shows up and starts causing problems. And during the commotion, Big actually reveals that Froggy had ingested part of Chaos, and that's why it had grown its tail. So, yeah, that's a plot point in Sonic Adventure, by the way. Froggy ingests Chaos's tail and gains its tail. So that's a relevant plot point that you need to remember as well. But in any case, Chaos shows up and begins wreaking havoc, and the police are quick to mobilize and try and get rid of everybody and try to just clear the town out while they deal with Chaos, but quickly find out that they're not much of a match for Chaos and flee themselves, instead evacuating everybody. At which point Sonic finally shows up and attacks Chaos and quickly defeats it, and it begins to retreat to the sewer. At which point Eggman shows up and reveals that what his plan is, and that he's going to basically use Chaos and fuel it with the power of the Chaos Emeralds, which is again the plot of Sonic Adventure. So yeah, and true to that point, he takes Cream's Chaos Emerald from her and then uses it to turn Chaos into Chaos 1, which makes it more powerful. We never actually get to see what it does. Sonic gears up to fight it, but then Knuckles shows in about 5 seconds later, demanding answers from Dr. Eggman, namely what happened to the Master Emerald and what happened to it on Angel Island. And sure enough, Dr. Eggman doesn't really have an answer. He never, or at the very least, he never gives one. But Chris is immediately concerned because he's curious as to what happened to the Master Emerald and why it's now, and what happened to it, and if something happened, and asks if something happened to it, and Knuckles is basically more or less, it's something did happen to it, but he doesn't elaborate what actually happened. But Dr. Eggman immediately takes advantage of the situation and points out that's a perfect time to actually test Chaos's abilities again, and feeds it his own Chaos Emerald, evolving it from Chaos 1 into Chaos 2. And Chaos 2 proves to be more than a match for both Sonic and Knuckles, but eventually, through their combined efforts, they are eventually able to bring it down. But it does notably cause some pretty significant damage to Station Square in the process. Although they do eventually manage to bring it down. At which point Dr. Eggman recalls Chaos into his ship, into his little hover ship thing that he rides around in. I don't really know the name of it, but he recalls Dr. Eggman recalls him into his ship and admits that that's only the beginning, and that once he has more Chaos Emeralds and has them all, he'll be able to feed them all to Chaos and be able to actually use its power to take over the world, and then flees with Chaos in his ship. At which point Cream remarks that she's a little bit terrified because it's very possible that this monster could get more powerful, and Sonic looking off the horizon states he's not going to let that happen. So yeah, basically the plot of Sonic Adventure. That's basically what the plot is. Dr. Eggman wakes up Chaos and begins wreaking havoc with it. That's the plot of Sonic Adventure, if you guys didn't play Sonic Adventure. But yeah, it's actually quite interesting seeing how they actually adapted Sonic Adventure with some new characters. Cream and Cheese weren't in Sonic Adventure, to my knowledge. I think they made like brief cameos, but they weren't actually fully in it, like story-wise. So it's interesting to see how she bounces off actual canon characters, like Big the Cat. It's interesting to see characters do that, to see the characters do that. And also, Chris is there. He's not in any of the games ever. So yeah, it's interesting to see how he just bounces off, just how they managed to slot him into the plot. It's interesting. Neither character is supposed to be there yet. It works really well, and I'm a little impressed that they managed to pull it off. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how they actually continue to adapt Sonic Adventure, and by extension Sonic Adventure 2. We'll get to that, but it is interesting. They took Sonic Adventure, they made it into something else, and it actually kind of works pretty well. I do like the premise of this. This is going to be interesting to review. But in any case, yeah, that's my review of Sonic X. What did you guys think? Let's get a discussion going in the comment section down below, or over on my Discord server, link in the description. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, be sure to follow me on Facebook and on Twitter in the description below. And also, be sure to check out my Patreon in the description below as well. It's only a couple bucks a month. It really helps me out, and you guys get access to a bunch of cool perks that I'm always saying thanks. So be sure to check those out in the description below as well. But in any case, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, I will see you guys in the next video. Peace!